Racist cop pulls gun on black army general, gets the shock of his life instantly. Major General Olivia Carter, a decorated veteran of the U.S. Army, had finally carved out a rare day off from her demanding schedule. At 45, she had spent over 2 decades serving her country, facing danger in war zones, negotiating high-stakes treaties, and mentoring young soldiers. But today was supposed to be simple, a trip to the mall for some retail therapy. Dressed in a casual tracksuit and sneakers, Olivia blended effortlessly into the bustling Saturday crowd at the upscale Westfield Mall. Despite her high rank and years of service, she enjoyed moments like this, just being an ordinary citizen, running errands like anyone else. She had one goal for the afternoon: find a new pair of running shoes and maybe grab a smoothie afterward. As she browsed through the athletic footwear section of a high-end store, Olivia noticed a few lingering stares. She was accustomed to turning heads due to her confident posture and commanding presence, but there was something different about these looks, a certain wariness, a suspicion that made her uneasy. Dismissing the thought, she continued shopping, unaware that her every move had caught the attention of Officer Darren Holtz. Holtz, a middle-aged cop with a gruff demeanor, was known for his quick judgments and an even quicker trigger finger. Over the years, he had faced multiple complaints about racial profiling, but his department had always brushed them aside. Today, Holtz was off-duty, dressed casually in jeans and a plain white t-shirt. Yet, his badge and holstered pistol were prominently displayed at his hip, a silent declaration of authority. As he walked past the athletic store, his eyes locked onto Olivia. Something about her, perhaps her upright stance or the way she carried herself, set off his internal alarm bells. In his mind, she didn't fit the profile of a typical shopper at an upscale mall. Instinctively, he lingered near the entrance, pretending to check his phone while closely watching her, his mind racing with unfounded suspicions. Meanwhile, Olivia had found the perfect pair of running shoes and proceeded to the checkout counter. The young cashier gave her a nervous smile while ringing up the purchase. As she handed over her credit card, Olivia felt an unshakable sense of being watched. Glancing towards the entrance, she spotted Holtz standing just outside, staring intently at her. A wave of unease washed over her, but she pushed it aside. The moment she stepped out of the store with her purchase, Holtz blocked her path. "Excuse me, ma'am," he said, his voice gruff. "I need to ask you a few questions." Olivia raised an eyebrow. "Is there a problem, officer?" "You were acting kind of suspicious in there," Holtz replied, his hand resting casually on his holster. "Mind telling me what you were up to?" Olivia, whose patience had been sharpened by years of handling high-pressure situations, felt it wearing thin. "I was buying shoes," she retorted, holding up the bag. "Is that a crime?" Holtz's eyes narrowed. "Let me see some ID." "Why?" Olivia asked, her voice calm but firm. "Have I done something wrong?" Holtz's grip on his weapon tightened. "Don't make this harder than it needs to be." In that moment, Olivia understood exactly what was happening. This had nothing to do with her actions and everything to do with the color of her skin. Her heart sank, but she stood her ground. "Officer," she said, her voice steady, "I'm going to ask you to step back. I haven't done anything wrong, and I won't be treated like a criminal for shopping." But Holtz wasn't listening. His mind was made up. His prejudice had already painted her as a threat. In a flash, he drew his gun, pointing it directly at her. The mall seemed to freeze. Shoppers stopped in their tracks. Mothers pulled their children close. Store clerks peered nervously from behind counters. The atmosphere became thick with tension. Olivia's heart pounded, but years of military training kicked in. She refused to panic. Slowly, she raised her hands, her eyes locked on Holtz. "Drop the bag," he barked. Olivia let the shopping bag fall to the floor. "Officer," she said, unwavering, "you're making a mistake. Don't tell me what I'm doing." Holtz snarled. "Get on the ground." She hesitated. Kneeling meant complete submission, and she wasn't about to give this man the satisfaction. "Officer," she said, "I am Major General Olivia Carter of the United States Army. I suggest you lower your weapon." For a split second, Holtz faltered. There was undeniable authority in her voice, but his prejudice clouded his judgment. Yeah, right, he scoffed. Get on the ground or else. Or else what? A voice cut in. A young man stepped forward from the crowd, holding up his phone. He had been filming the entire encounter. She just said she's a general, dude. You're pointing a gun at a hero? Holtz's face flushed crimson. Get out of here, he yelled, but the damage was done. More people pulled out their phones, capturing the scene from multiple angles. Olivia saw her opportunity. Officer Holtz, she said, reading his name from his badge. You're about to make the biggest mistake of your career. Stand down. Holtz hesitated, his hand trembling on his weapon. The murmurs from the crowd grew louder. Do you know who you're pointing that gun at? Someone shouted. Just then, mall security arrived. Two guards rushed over, their faces pale as they took in the situation. What's going on here? One of them demanded. Holtz didn't answer, but Olivia did. This officer has drawn his weapon on me for no reason, she stated. I want to speak to his supervisor. Within minutes, the mall manager arrived, followed by a police captain who happened to be shopping nearby. Captain Teresa Holland, a middle-aged black woman, took one look at Olivia and her jaw dropped. General Carter, she said, rushing over. What in the world is going on here? Olivia explained the situation in a few concise sentences, her voice calm but firm. Captain Holland turned to Holtz, her face a mask of fury. Holster your weapon. Officer Holtz, she commanded. Holtz hesitated, but Captain Holland's voice boomed with authority. Reluctantly, he obeyed. Holland turned to Olivia. I am so sorry, General. This is unacceptable. Olivia nodded. It is, and I expect it to be dealt with. The fallout was swift. The video of the incident went viral, sparking national outrage. News outlets picked up the story, and Holtz's history of racial profiling was exposed. Within a week, he was suspended without pay pending an investigation. Meanwhile, Olivia received an outpouring of support from the public and her fellow service members. In an interview, she stated, "This isn't just about me. It's about countless others who don't have the rank or platform to stand up for themselves. This has to stop." Her story became a rallying cry for justice, highlighting the dangers of prejudice and the need for accountability in law enforcement. It was a stark reminder that, regardless of status or achievements, Black Americans could still be subjected to discrimination. And it was the bystanders, the ordinary citizens who filmed and spoke up, that helped expose the truth and force action. Ultimately, Olivia Carter's story was not just about one incident. It was about a much larger fight for equality and justice, a fight that continues to this day.